Hey guys, thanks for tuning in. Well, today I wanted to talk with you a bit about how I approach processing acoustic guitars. What I have here is about a little 2 minute riff that I recorded that basically takes you through multiple dynamics of an acoustic guitar recording. It's a Taylor 214 recorded with a Shure SM57 dynamic cardioid mic, about 5 inches away from the 12th fret. Um, Hopefully, this will give you an idea of how to approach processing acoustic guitars. I'm going to take you through um, basically how to do sub EQing and also doing a low cut. I'm going to use Alloy 2 to process it, but you can use really any channel strip plugin. Like if you're using Studio One, you could use Fat Channel, which is a really good plugin. But I happen to like Alloy. And then I'm going to put some reverb on it, and then I'm going to bring the gain up to a level that's common. So first, show you what I have here. I've got a channel here with my Taylor 214 recording. I have an effects channel which I'm going to put reverb on. I've got a auxiliary for the acoustic guitar. Actually, I need to set up another one here for my effects. So let me do that. My FX aux. I'm going to route. I'll show you later why I do that. Just make sure it's the right color here. We'll put this through there. That goes to the stereo bus. Okay. So I've got that, and I've got my stereo bus. So what I have here again is a 2 minute little song here, little guitar riff here. So let me just play this for you so you can hear it raw. All right. Let me get. Sorry about that. Actually, that sounds pretty good raw, if you ask me. But there are some things we can do to it to just bring out the shine and the shimmer of the acoustic. And we're going to take a look at doing that. So first thing I do here is I'll bring in a Pro EQ, and I use that for high pass and subtractive EQing. So first thing I'll do is put a high pass on this. Low cut high pass. Obviously way too much. I'm going to keep it around there because we're going to go through this as a practical example of a single acoustic we're going to add a vocal to later. So It's going to be the only instrument on the recording, which means you don't want to get rid of too much bass information. You want to let it live on its own. So I actually may bring that down a little bit more. Okay, you can always go back and play with that if we brought a vocal into this. So I'm not going to cut anything on the high end at all. So I want the shimmer, the acoustic. So next thing we're going to do here is we're going to do some subtractive EQing. So let me just set up my bands here. And we're going to start by just listening and cutting. So it's probably a good part to listen. Actually, let's put this in loop back. Right about here. So you can just... All right, so I want to just real quick, when I'm listening for offensive tones, I'm listening for things that are out of tune. Like this one here I just found, it's a little bit of an overtone, but it's in tune with the guitar and the notes that are being played. So it's probably not something I'm going to want to cut unless down the road I find that it's interfering with something else. So I'm going to probably leave that in. I'm looking for things that just don't sound right. So let's keep going here. This one doesn't sound that great. See what I'm doing here is I'm increasing the Q so that I only cut what I need to, and I'm listening to it and increasing it until I can't hear it, and then I just dial it back again. This way I'm only removing what I have to. All right, so you can see, let's just do an A-B here. It's very subtle, so let's keep going. That one's nasty. See, if I can bring the Q all the way up to 24, I'm taking out the minimal amounts. Alright, so let's keep going here. That's nasty too. So. Okay, usually above 2K, we don't find too much that has to be removed on acoustics, but let's try it. Oops. See, that sounds to me like it's the ring of the high-end strings, so it's probably not something that I want to take out. I'm going to leave that in. So let's do an A-B. When you see this red button, this button turn red, the EQ is off and the cuts are off, okay? To me, it just sounds cleaner, crisper. A lot of the mid-range, you could see most of this stuff is like in the mid-range, so it's taking some tones out of the mid-range, just making it sound a little cleaner. Last thing that we want to do here is we want to gain stage this. So you can do it either here using the gain button, or you can, or a knob here, or you can use it, do it in Alloy 2. Actually, I'll just do it in Alloy 2. Well, let's do it here. Now what I'm trying to do is get like the peak at around -12. So I probably want to go down here because all right. Oops. -2.5. That seems about right. And we can look at it in Alloy too. So now our sub EQ is done, our high pass is done, and we gain staged it for the most part. So let's bring in Alloy 2. Sometimes Alloy 2 doesn't load properly. Let's try it again. Here we go. Alloy 2 is pretty cool. If you're not familiar, it's from Isotope. It's got an EQ, transient, exciter, 2 compressors, de-esser if you need it for vocals or maybe lead guitar, and a limiter. And what you can do is actually you can put these in any order that you like, which is kind of cool. It's really a cool plugin. Go on YouTube and search Alloy 2 and you could find out more about this, but it's a kind of like a 21st century plugin, if you will. In any event, what I'm going to do here is I'm going to first make sure the gain coming in is okay. This is my input and this is my output, so I want to make sure this is okay, and then I'm going to do some EQing and get the acoustic to where I want it to sound. So we'll keep this same part here looped. So I had a peak there of -6, so I probably want to just dial this back a little bit. Let's just... Good. One thing I forgot to mention about the cutting. The reason why you do that cutting, one of the reasons is you don't want those tones kind of like hitting the compressor and the compressor you know acting off those tones. May happen, may not, but it's always good to get bad stuff out before it gets into your channel strip chain. So let's work on some pre-EQing here. What I'm trying to do here is find the ring. It's like right about there. And then what I'm going to do here is I'm going to pull a little bit of the mid-range out. And we're going to boost the bass because, again, this is in our hypothetical here, this is going to be the only instrument. What I just did there is the output, keeping it about -6. And I know this is like my biggest peak, so that's what I was just testing there. So this sounds kind of good to me. Just bypass it. Subtle changes. So that's the EQing. So now we're going to go to the transients. And since it's an acoustic guitar, I kind of want to, I could do multi-band, but I'm going to do single band. So I kind of want the transients to have more sustain to fill up gaps, if you will. So this is a pretty cool tool to allow you to do that. So it's a very subtle change. I'll go to an extreme here. Then I'm going to bring the attack down. Soft attack, softer attack, longer sustain. To me, it just gives the acoustic more body and fills up the gaps more. Again, hypothetical, this is going to be alone with a vocal, so we want to make sure it fills up everything. I think that sounds good. Now we can take a look at the exciter. I don't normally do this on acoustics, but we'll take a look at that. And I can actually do this multi-band if I want to, and Alloy's got a pretty cool feature that allows you to do learning. So as you're playing, you right click, hit learn, and it figures out where it should be. But I always do the test of bass. So now what I can do here is I can actually excite each one of these bands. So for example, if I wanted to bring out more of the shine, again, this is all to ear. I don't normally use the exciter, but just wanted to show you how it worked. All right, so I'm getting here with an acoustic that is giving me what I want, which is standing on its own as the only instrument that's going to be the only instrument in the mix. So now let's take a look at compression. And normally I don't want to do a lot of compression on an acoustic, just enough to sort of even out the peaks. You watch right here, you'll see a little red flash, and that's when it's basically kicking in. just sort of smooths things out. Very little compression, 1.6 to 1 ratio. And again, it's just kicking in, just slightly moving. If this was a needle, it would slightly be moving the needle, not big, nothing big. In fact, I might even use, like, instead of this, I might use a one of the Wave, the CLA compressor, CLA2 compressors, but I'll just use this for now. And that's pretty much all we're going to do with Alloy. So let's give this a listen now, with and without. So let's open that again, and we'll A-B it. Here's without. It's with. It's without. To my ear, it just sort of smooths things out a little bit, makes it more pro sounding, if you ask me. So that's it for Alloy. So now what we're going to do is we're going to work on some reverb. So I'm going to use, actually like Studio One's reverb, their room reverb. The default I usually like to start with is Small Studio. And I'm going to make the room bigger because I want this to be like, I'm going to make this the height bigger, the width bigger, and the size of the room big. Because I want this to have not a boomy sound, but I want it to have a lot of space. Because again, it's going to be the only instrument. So let's send this to the reverb, and we'll give this a listen. So what I do here is I always like to listen to the trails. That's way too much. So let's make the room a little smaller. It's a little better. Can reduce our length a little bit to 1 second. It's a little better. You notice here, as I am A-Bing the reverb, that when the reverb is on, the gain seems lower because it's going through, and it's going through the reverb, and it's actually sounds like it's in a bigger space. But we'll take care of that later. So anyway, I kind of like the way that sounds. Maybe back it off a little bit. Again, we're just trying to recreate a room. We don't want oodles and oodles of reverb. So the one thing I do like to do on reverb is to put a low cut and high cut, sometimes high cut. Let's see what we got here. Now this is why it's cool to have an FX aux, so I can solo this, and all I'm going to hear is the reverb. I don't need anything below 110 there, muddying up the mix. And on the high side, it seems about right there, about 8.5K. Okay, actually I want a little bit more. That's good. All right, so I've pretty much taken care of everything except bringing it up to the right gain. So what I'm going to do is on the stereo bus, and this is normally something that you would do in when you're doing mastering. So after you got your vocal in here and you mix everything and you bring everything to the right levels, I would normally export this to a WAV file and bring it into the project section of Studio One and do this there. But what I just want to show you an example of using L2 to bring it up to volume. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to set the limiter to -1. And again, this is just for example. It's not something I would normally do here, but we'll just show you. When I'm looking for this attenuation meter to just tick in the red right here at these louder parts, to basically, and I don't want it to definitely to go any greater than 3, and you'll see it come down right here. So let's give this a listen. And I'm going to move the threshold down here, and you'll hear the gain increase. I could actually get away with that. That sounds a little too loud to me, so I'm going to back that up. Okay. For this example, that's fine. You're going to spend a lot more time if you're mastering getting that right. And actually, what I would probably use instead of that is this plugin, which is Ozone 5, which is an amazing plugin. It's got equalizer, reverb, harmonic exciter, dynamics, stereo imaging, and a post equalizer, and then the maximizer, which is basically what L2 does, all in one. So when I'm mastering stuff on my own in project, this is what I use. It's really cool. It's one of the most amazing plugins I've ever used. Check it out on YouTube, Ozone 5. You can buy the bundle of Alloy 2, and it's not a commercial for Isotope, but they do have a bundle, Alloy 2, Nectar 2, which is for vocals, which is another amazing plugin, and Ozone 5, and it's a reasonable price for the bundle. You might want to just check those out. Anyway, so this is what I would normally use for mastering, but for this purpose, we're going to go real simple with L2. Okay, so we've listened to this with before raw, so let's take the loop off here. We'll rewind, and I'll let you listen all the way through with the processed. Alrighty. Well, that's I think that sounds a lot better. Remember, this is a single instrument. It's pretty loud there. If you're going to bring a vocal in, you're going to have to mix them together and make them right. So it would be much less gain to it. The other thing that we could do with this, if you wanted to have it stereo and you wanted to pan it left right, you could duplicate this track with everything that we've done with it, and take the first track, the A track or left side track, and delay it -7 milliseconds, and then the B or the right side track, and increase that plus 7 milliseconds. So there's a 14 millisecond delay between the A and the B, the left and the right, and you could do 14, 8. Some people say 18. Play with it and see what you like. And when you pan those two tracks left and right, you're going to get like a pseudo stereo sound. It's not going to be the same as playing the track twice. You can't beat that. That's the best way to do it. But if you want to, the poor man's, if you will, stereo technique is to do just what I described. And I have a video on it, and you can go on YouTube, and there's other videos on how to do that. So that's something you can do to make it sound fuller. And again, in our hypothetical here, you would have your vocal in the center, and then you would have those two on the side. Or you could just have the acoustic right in the center behind the vocal, which is actually a cool way to do it too. Well, I hope this was helpful. Again, this is one guy's approach to how to do it. I'm not a professional. I've learned from a lot of people that I've watched and listened to, and this is basically the purpose of this is to show you, if you're a beginner, on the steps you need to go to make your acoustic guitar sound better. I really appreciate you watching. 2,200 plus subscribers. I'm still amazed that many people have subscribed to the channel. Please comment if you have any questions, or you like or you don't like the video, and like this if you can. That helps too. And subscribe to the channel. We'll have more stuff coming out. I'll be doing more stuff as we go along here. So again, thanks for watching, and have a great day.